Last time. Greek philosophy. What is the world? How should we live? In India, similar questions arose in different traditions. The Indian subcontinent, from around 1500 to 500 BC, shaped key roots of South Asian civilization. History Episode 23. Classical Era. The Vedic Age and the Caste System. Part 1. The Vedas. The roots of Indian civilization. Before the Vedic Age, the Indus civilization had flourished. The relationship between the two remains incompletely understood. The Vedas are India's oldest sacred texts. Not written at first, but memorized and passed down orally across generations. 4 Vedas. Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda. Collections of hymns, ritual chants, sacrificial formulas, and sacred knowledge. The Rigveda is considered the oldest. Over 1,000 hymns. Prayers to the gods. Around 1500 BC, people from the northwest settled in northern India. The Punjab became the Vedic heartland. Over time, Vedic culture spread eastward. Expansion toward the Gangetic Plain was gradual over centuries. This movement is still debated. They spoke early Indo-Aryan languages. The Vedas were composed in Vedic Sanskrit, later a root of many northern Indian languages. The Vedic age centered on pastoral life more than cities. Brahmin priests held great ritual authority. Sacrifice was central to Vedic society. Major rituals lasted days or months, with Brahmins leading. Part 2. Varna. A world of 4 orders. Varna means color. During the Vedic age, society began to be organized into 4 broad divisions. Brahmins, priests and scholars, memorized the Vedas and led rituals. Theirs was the highest rank. Kshatriyas, warriors and rulers, kings and nobles belonged to this group. Vaishyas, merchants and farmers. Trade, agriculture, and cattle herding were their roles. Shudras, laborers and servants. Their role was to serve the 3 groups above them. Some people stood outside the Varna system. Later, they faced exclusion and hard labor. Part of Dalit community's history. The Purusha hymn in the Rigveda gave this order a religious language, describing 4 groups emerging from a cosmic being. Part 3. The Upanishads. Questions turned inward. Between 800 and 500 BC, the Upanishads emerged, emphasizing inner understanding over ritual. Atman, the self within each person. A central Upanishadic teaching holds it deeply connected with Brahman, the source of reality. Karma. Actions have consequences. What one does in this life shapes the next. Samsara. Reincarnation. Death is not the end. The soul is reborn, the form depending on past actions. Moksha. Liberation from the cycle of rebirth. The Upanishads called this the ultimate goal of human life. The Upanishads became central to later Hindu philosophy, with deep roots across India's religious traditions. Part 4. Caste. When order became institution. Varna described 4 orders. In practice, society was more complex, and hereditary communities called jati emerged. Over time, birth came to shape occupation and status, becoming the core of the caste system. Caste shaped marriage, food, and social interaction. Births strongly limited the path of a person's life. Many texts and religious worldviews presented this order as natural, making social difference appear like part of the cosmic order. But ideals and reality diverged. In practice, caste could become a tool of discrimination and exclusion. Those outside the Varna system often faced the harshest discrimination. Their suffering continued across long periods of history. Part 5. Challenge and Change. New voices? Around 500 BC, new voices challenged birth-based hierarchy and the ritual-centered Vedic order. Buddhism and Jainism emphasized practice over birth. Anyone could walk the path toward liberation. Within the Vedic tradition, reformist voices emerged. Some texts said virtue matters more than birth. But caste did not disappear. Over later centuries, religion, law, and custom deepened its hold. Resistance to caste continued through Buddhism, Sikhism, reform movements, and Ambedkar. As long as caste itself. Ambedkar fought for Dalit rights, chaired India's constitutional drafting committee, and converted to Buddhism late in life. Part 6. Legacy. Questions that reach the present. The Vedic tradition lives on in Hinduism today. Sanskrit hymns are still memorized and recited. Ideas like karma and rebirth entered Western thought and culture. Vedic ideas spread beyond India. India's constitution abolished untouchability in 1950 and prohibited caste-based discrimination. But in practice, discrimination continues today. The Vedic age raised questions still alive. Where should social order come from? Can birth be destiny? On the Indian subcontinent, another great civilization was rising. The Maurya Empire, and Ashoka. Next time. The Maurya Empire, India's first great empire. Chandragupta, Ashoka, and the spread of Buddhism. The Vedas, the Upanishads, and the questions around caste. 3,000 years later, these traditions and debates still shape lives across South Asia and beyond.